Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So, Bitcoin came up in a big way today. Why did it happen? Well, someone did predict this. So I like to remind you guys who predicted this. But also, more importantly, I want to talk about why Bitcoin is heading up to 40,000 soon. So strap on and get ready. Let's do this. Welcome, guys. Look at this. Bitcoin is right back above 28. It tried to break through 28.8 again. You know what? Who said that? Me this morning. I hate to say I told you so. Even this morning, I said, look, Bitcoin is going to try to hit this and break through and probably will try a couple of times before it does. And boom, we did retest it. And now we are at 28,300 once again. And it does look like Bitcoin wants to continue onwards, right? And again, you know what? During the FOMC meeting, after Powell talked, you know how the market started dumping? The entire market started dumping and Bitcoin started dumping. And I'm like, I think we've seen this before. I'm pretty sure we've seen this story before, right? So, what did I say exactly? Hey, let me play this. I just happen to have this clip, so why not? Let me play it. This was just yesterday, in case you're wondering. I think, Wall Street will realize what he said was really dovish. I remember last time we had this press conference, I believe the market dumped too. And then that night or the day afterwards, we started pumping. I think Wall Street right now may be doing a giant fake out, making people think that this was a bad meeting. It actually wasn't. He actually opened up to the idea that, okay, we may have to just stop rate hikes altogether because of credit tightening, the situation of the banks could be getting worse. And overall, we know that this only strengthens the case for Bitcoin because Bitcoin was created because of distrust in banks and central banks and the Fed and everyone else around the world. So, I mean, what more do you need? When there's weakness in the banks, you go with something better like Bitcoin, right? Yeah, again, I normally don't say I told you guys so, but it happened exactly the same way the last FOMC meeting went, which after the meeting, the market dumped, and then the market started rallying, and then Bitcoin started rallying, right? So it was like a giant fake out. It really was. But what's the reason? Why was there a giant fake out? Well, like I said in that video, what Powell said was actually not that bad. But more importantly, banks are still struggling. Banks are still struggling. I like to show you guys something that's really funny. So today, Janet Yellen says Treasury is ready to take additional actions if warranted to stabilize banks. Now, why would she say this? Well, because there's still a lot of questions whether or not other banks are going to become insolvent or they're going to need a bailout or whether or not there will be a bank run. There's a lot of questions right now. So Janet Yellen, unfortunately, is conveying what Powell said, but she's like not sure what to say. So today she's like, yeah, sure, we'll take additional actions, right? So if we need to bail out more banks, we could do so. But here's the funny thing. So this is today, right? Yesterday, she was asked about, hey, are you just going to blanket insurance all bank deposits? And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So today she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll cover any banks. Yesterday she's like, no, we're not going to do it. And then the day before that, she says, yeah, no, we can backstop more deposits, right? So every day she's changing her tone. One day is like, no bailouts whatsoever. Then bailouts happen, and she's like, yeah, we'll backstop anymore. Then the next day is like, no, we're not going to backstop anymore. And then the next day she's like, yes, we will backstop once again. So what's the true answer? What's the right answer? The right answer, I believe, is the Fed, the FDIC, the U.S. Treasury, and the U.S. government will do what they can to try to stabilize the financial system and banks, right? They're going to try. They're going to try. But here's the thing. Investors are not so stupid. I mean, this is what First Republic looks like, okay? There's only so much you could do. There's only so much makeup you could put on a pig, and that's exactly what First Republic is right now. Despite the intervention, despite the liquidity injection, investors are like, we're not fooled. This is still a pig, and they're still selling off the stock, right? So banks are still in trouble. And First Republic, I use them a lot as examples, but they're not the only ones. There's a lot more banks out there that's not in a good situation, right? So this is why I've been saying the way to opt out, the way to safeguard your money, your buying power, and get away from shenanigans caused by governments around the world and central banks around the world is basically you buy Bitcoin. You get out of banks if you can. And that is why Bitcoin shot up today, because people realize that. There's a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin. I don't think people realize how much money it takes to make Bitcoin go from about 27.4 from this morning to 28.8. For Bitcoin to pump over $1,400 in a single swoop like this, I can't even imagine how much money had to go in to buy Bitcoin pretty much all at once to be able to cause that to happen. We're not talking about like $1 million or $2 million. You go put $2 million in Coinbase, you're not going to notice Bitcoin jump at all. I'm talking about probably hundreds of millions. That's how much it takes to move markets like this. A lot of money is flowing in right now. It's looking very, very good. Now, why do I think Bitcoin is heading to 40,000 soon? Well, we are about to shatter, first of all. We're about to shatter this 28.8. We may test it one more time, but we will break through. And after we break through, 30,000 is right around the corner. But that's really only the beginning, because there are many fractal patterns and on-chain metrics and technical indicators that are all super bullish right now, including this one, the golden ratio multiplier, which shows what happens to Bitcoin after it crosses the golden cross, right? And if you look at all the previous times this happened, and you kind of average out how much it goes up, well, first stop is about $37,000, which is not far off from 30,000. We hit 30,000, to go up another 7,000 is barely nothing, like 20%, right? But there are so many that indicate the same thing. Here's another one. Basically, this is a long-term chart that shows, yeah, not only are we coming up from bottom, we have just crossed above this trend line. And whenever that happens, Bitcoin goes on a tremendous, tremendous run, right? First stop could be 40,000, 50,000. We may retrace from there, and then we just continue forward. So there's so many of these out there that I'm showing you guys. Here's another one comparing us to 2019 and what happened to Bitcoin in 2019 once it broke out. Well, it broke out in a big way, going from $3,000 to $14,000, 7x within a matter of months, right? We were at 15,000. You times it by 7. What is that? That's already close to $100,000. I don't know if that kind of bullishness will happen, although some people have predicted it. This morning I showed a lot of insiders thinking we may hit 100,000 by the end of this year. That's the end of this year, not the end of next year or 2025, right? So there are a lot of good things happening right now that will skyrocket Bitcoin to the moon. And there's one company that wants to do that, Lunar Crush. It's a social intelligence company. They are about to send 62 Bitcoin on the Nakamoto 1 and blast it off to the moon. Approximately $1.5 million. Well, that's a way to do it. Or you simply buy and hold or buy and DCA. That'll get you to the moon too. But I find this pretty funny that they are doing that. Obviously a publicity stunt, but still a good one, if I do say so myself. But anyways, going back to Bitcoin, it's looking pretty good. I've told you guys time and time again, when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, it's a game of patience, okay? Whoever has the most patience wins and gains the most. It's really that simple. Yes, you could day trade it. You could try to use your leverage and try to make some money that way. But people that made the most in the space are the ones that just DCA'd throughout time, throughout years, and they have made the most money. It's just a test of your patience, really. And when it comes to Bitcoin, you don't even actually have to wait that long. You know, a few years, right? That's nothing compared to how long you have to wait for, say, gold to appreciate, which is never. So think about that. So today is looking pretty darn good for Bitcoin. I think we're going to see better days. Possibly this weekend, maybe we'll even see $30,000, right? So tomorrow we got one more day and we got the weekend. We'll see. But the other big news today is FUD. This morning I covered it. Crypto's under attack. Some short sellers trying to attack Jack Dorsey's block project, right? And also the SEC is warning Coinbase that we might sue you, right? But Coinbase already said, we don't know what you want us to do. We've been trying to work with you, and then you throw us a Wells notice basically saying, you know what, not a whole lot. What should we do to not get sued? You don't really tell us, right? This is the SEC's model now. This is Gary Gensler's model now. Basically, just threaten to sue or sue, and then try to figure things out afterwards, okay? And why do I say that? Well, this came out of the bankruptcy judge that was ruling whether or not Voyager could be sold to Binance.US. And the SEC said, no, you can't let Binance.US buy Voyager. And the judge is like, why? Why? And she basically said, she explains it, that basically the SEC was asking Binance and asking Voyager basically to prove that they're not violating security laws. Okay, that's easy to do if you know what they are. What are the exact charges that the SEC is charging Voyager or VGX tokens with or Binance with so that they can actually object? But the thing is, they don't define it. They just say, okay, they have to prove they're not violating security laws. But how when it's not properly defined? So it was so vague and so ridiculous, that's why the judge just threw it out. See, this is the type of stuff the SEC is doing now. And they could get away with it with smaller projects because smaller projects do not have the resources to fight them in court. And the SEC will drag it on and drag it on and drag it on and drag it on, right? And this is how Library got bankrupted. Even though they won, they basically lost because they don't have the resources like, say, Ripple does. But the SEC, you know what? I think if they sue Coinbase, they're in for a battle because Coinbase is not going to give up very easily. Coinbase has vast, enormous amount of lawyers and resources. They will fight this, and Brian Armstrong said he will fight this tooth and nail. And you have a lot of other projects and industry leaders that are ready to help Coinbase defend if SEC decides to sue Coinbase, right? So there's also that. Big, absolutely big. Coinbase stock got hammered today, absolutely hammered today because of this news. But it's just utterly ridiculous that SEC would just throw out random notices and say, you got to fix yourself, even though they don't really say what. And it just caused a whole lot of FUD, right? So there's that. But I'm waiting for this to be over. If there goes sue, go ahead and sue. But I think there's a reason why they don't want to do this, because they have their hands full of the Ripple case, and they may be losing that really, really soon. And then lastly, yes, I did see this. Do Kwon got arrested in Montenegro, And now he's facing criminal charges from not only South Korea, but also U.S. prosecutors. So supposedly he got caught because he was trying to use a fake ID to get out of the country because South Korea suspended his passport. Here's the thing. Do Kwon has been bragging about how he's not on the run. No one's looking for him. He even stated, I'm going to give out my address so everyone can come and meet me, right? Boasting how everything is FUD. Well, now it appears like not everything is FUD. It's all very serious. And he may get what's coming to him. There you go. There you go. All right. That's pretty much it today. Overall, we're trending higher. Look at, we're back to 1.19 trillion. This is where we were just a few days ago. So everything that happened yesterday, this big scary drop, all of a sudden wiped out, and we are ready to test this resistance once again and break through it. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling down here. Scrolling down, I see people love Janet Yellen flip-flopping every single day. Do you think Bitcoin can continue pumping? U.S. markets crash? Yes, it can happen. It'll happen slower, but obviously if the markets are rallying, it's going to help. But overall, right now, we are seeing a shift. More strength into Bitcoin than ever. Not ever, but this may be the first time, I would say, this may be the first time in Bitcoin's history where it, oops, I didn't change my camera. I was like, well, that looks weird. This may be the first time in Bitcoin's history where it truly gained strength after the banks got weaker. Because we didn't really see this before. If Bitcoin was invented before the last 2008 crash, maybe we would have seen something similar. But since 2008 to now, we really haven't seen any bank crashes or fears over banks. But now we are, and Bitcoin is doing really good. This may be the very first time ever in history where we have witnessed Bitcoin gaining strength while a whole sector is losing strength, and that's banking. That, if you think about it, that's very powerful. That's very, very powerful. Junie asks, if they shut down Coinbase, where do you sell Bitcoin for cash? Binance.us, Gemini, Kraken. There's a lot of places. No, that actually broke out this morning, but I just covered it. BTC never dipped so far below the 200 moving average in entire history as it did recently. Could this mean a BTC can overcorrect much higher than expected? Anything can happen. We rely on history because that's the only thing we can kind of relate to, right? But you know what? History tends not to repeat. It rhymes, but it doesn't happen the same way, right? That's why it's rhyming. So yeah, you never know. You never know. I use all these, these charts, metrics, fractal patterns to kind of tell you guys or show you guys where things could go. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It could happen where Bitcoin goes much higher than previous levels, right? We don't know. But you're right. Bitcoin never broke below the 200 weekly moving average. It did for a very long time. Now that we're above it, does that mean explosiveness is coming? Bitcoin also never experienced bank fears like right now, right? If more banks start failing, are we really going to see billions flow into Bitcoin? We're starting to see that already. We could see a lot more of it. So sure. Do you think XRP will be used for CDBC? Probably not. Probably not. It's an anti-CDBC, so. Am I bullish on stacks? I'm not. I like the promise. I like the potential, let's say. Okay, I'm not myself. I think it has potential. It has promise. I don't know. I'm still kind of conflicted over stacks. I think a lot of the dApps coming on board with Bitcoin through stacks already exist on Ethereum and others. So is it a better chain for it? You could argue yes, for on top of Bitcoin, what better chain? But other chains are more efficient at it. So I don't know. I'm still undecided. But stacks definitely has been strong recently. Astromatics, appreciate it. Beanie asks, if there is only like 40 billion worth of BTC on exchanges, why doesn't the country suck it up? That's peanuts for a nation. Well, keep this in mind. If you try to suck up all the Bitcoin out there, it starts getting more and more and more expensive. The sellers will keep raising their prices. So even though it may seem like there's like 40 billion, if you're actually putting 40 billion to try to buy it, it won't be 40 billion. It'll be a lot higher than that. That's just how it works, right? And I'm sure there are countries that's stocking up already. Just like countries stock up on gold, in the future, countries will stock up on Bitcoin. Is that a Morningstar candle on a daily? I don't even know what a Morningstar candle is, but yeah, so I can't comment on that. What are your thoughts on Arbitrum? Well, it airdropped. People were saying, oh, I'm going to go buy on the first day. I'm like, I don't know about that. A lot of people will be dumping. So it came out, debuted. I mean, it was airdropped. It's down about 88% from its highs, right? But still, it's free. It's free money. If you got ARB, great. They're the biggest L2 for Ethereum, so good. Is this the last time buying whole Bitcoins will be affordable? Well, it depends on how you define affordable. You know, if you could get a true count of how many people on Earth could actually take out, say, 28,000 to buy a Bitcoin, I bet it would be less than 1% of the population, right? So that means Bitcoin is probably not affordable already. Now, some of you guys are doing pretty well for yourselves. You became a whole coiner over the years, or you just simply have a lot of money. You can buy many Bitcoins, right? But for vast majority of people out there, this is already unaffordable. Like when it was $100 each, maybe $1,000 each, right? Affordable. 28,000 each is unaffordable. But soon it'll be 100,000, and then soon 250,000, then soon $1 million afterwards. Then people will be fighting for sats. They're not even going to be fighting for individual Bitcoin because it'll be too expensive. They'll be fighting over sats. Have you seen Luna Classics dev Edward Kim? He's a genius. No, I'm sorry, I haven't. Thoughts on XYO data project? Really no thoughts. They did well in 2021. They're location-based L1 that's more focused on IoT devices, and it's more like mapping out. You can map out Google Maps in a decentralized way, right? But I don't know if it really got any traction. I met someone that said they were trying to data mine. They put some kind of miner in their car and they drove around for weeks and they made like $2. So I think a lot of people that got in early gave up on it. Antoine, that's right. That's right. Thanks for answering for me. I did not promote Seller Network. I talked about it, but I did not promote Seller Network. What's your take? Is this a project still good? Well, they're in the space of creating. They're in the payment space. That's really, well, no. I'm thinking about Cello. This is Seller. Are they the same? Let me make sure I don't get my wires crossed. Okay, no. I was thinking about Cello. Seller looks like they are L1. More geared towards GameFi, DeFi, NFT. I mean, that's really everyone. Honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that makes me scream like this is good. So I haven't really. I mean, the ones that I like, I know a lot about. I guess I just don't know enough about Seller to make me say, yeah, they're fantastic. So. Norman, appreciate it. Opinion on SushiSwap, subpoena by the SEC. SushiSwap has had a rocky history, so I don't know exactly all the details, but they almost went bankrupt, and then they came back, and then they get sold out, and someone bought them, and whatever. I don't know. Thoughts on Neo? I gave up on Neo a long time ago. Neo took way too long to come out. Neo 3. And they were one of the most centralized chains out there. And they're supposed to be changing with Neo 3. I don't know. I just gave up on them completely. So, can't really say much about Neo. Jeff Crypto, appreciate it. One day, additional action is warranted. Another day, no, we're not going to help with insurance. And then another day, yeah, we could backstop more deposits. I mean, so what's the right answer? Are they go bail out the banks or not bail out the banks? Some banks need bailing out. 90% down in a month. Ouch. Let's put this up. This is a nice chart right here. J Star, I already answered you, and keep typing the same thing. I have no thoughts on Neo. I've given up on that project. Will says, George, my friend's dad is friends with you on WhatsApp. I highly doubt it because I don't use WhatsApp. So, no, that's false. Can BTC ETFs eat up stats causing a shortage? Eat up the stats. I don't know what you mean by that. Can it clog up the blocks? Is that what you're talking about? Can it clog the blocks? Yes, potentially. If there's a ton of NFTs being minted and stored on the blockchain on top of Bitcoin, can it clog the blocks and cause congestion and cause fees to go up? Yes. That's why some Bitcoin maxes do not like NFTs on top of Bitcoin. What about warning for SEC about crypto losses? I have no idea what you're talking about. Why would they warn about that? Like what? I think they were just warning about investors recognizing that you could lose money. I mean, that looks like a giant pennant right there. Looks like a giant breakout is going to happen. Wait, I don't mean to use that arrow. Yeah, that looks like something's about to happen. No, I would never run for president. That is not one job I would want. I don't want any government official or elected jobs. Anything within the government? No. Money Buggy, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Do I like Cody or Anchor? If I had to choose, I'd pick Cody over Anchor. I've never been that big a fan of Anchor. If Ripple wins, you think it'll pump above $5? Eventually, not right away. It's gonna take some time to pump above its previous high, which is like 377. Will it pass that eventually? Yes, but it's gonna take some time. Wade, appreciate it. Any hope for Cardano? Cardano just actually pumped up recently because of a recent upgrade to have the nodes do some kind of automated double connections or something like that. I don't know. Basically, ultimately, it makes it more efficient. So it's good. Jake, I'm going to keep timing you out, man. What did I say? Stop spamming and stop asking the same question. Take profits if you're scared of another drop. It's really that simple. Any opinion on IMX and Polygon partnership? Is Gala in trouble with the partnership? Thanks. No, Stan. Keep in mind the space is pretty big. There's not just going to be one project to dominate all. Gala is not going to be in trouble, but Polygon is getting stronger. Basically, it's endorsement for ZK EVM, which is what Immutable X basically partnered and they partnered up with them for that. But Polygon is a beast. You guys know that. I've been talking about Polygon for quite some time. All Chat Gaming, appreciate it. Should I pull my coins off of Coinbase? Wade, that's up to you. I would say if you want to safeguard your own crypto, it's always a good time for that. Get a hardware wallet, get a mobile wallet, safeguard your own crypto. That's always a good idea. Junie, you're asking about 2 old relics. They were very popular in 2017. I don't know what happened to them exactly, but hopefully they're still in the game and around. How can you be scared after surviving 2022? Exactly, right? I've lived through 2014 all the way to 2017. Then I lived through 2018 all the way up to 2020, right? And I lived through 2022. So I've been through a few of these. And whenever things go down, they're really rough and tough and scary. But I've had the same message from 2017 till now, right? Basically, focus on a bigger picture. Have patience. HODL, DCA. I mean, really, it's the same message. Doesn't matter what. But obviously, I've learned a thing or two since then. All right, guys, let's conclude. Bitcoin, will it be at 40,000 soon? Well, a lot of people still don't like banks. Yellen is not sure what to say anymore. Bitcoin came right back up today because there's still a lot of distrust in what Yellen's saying, what Powell's saying, what the government and banks are saying, right? Bitcoin is still the way, and there's so many metrics and indicators that show Bitcoin is going to go much higher. So stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.